Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Nerly Adventures. My name is Elijah, and this is actually going to be my first non-DC multiverse related video. That's crazy, right? And I do a lot of nerdy things. I think you can all tell that. But probably the nerdiest thing that I do, and this is coming from me, is play D&D. And I really like D&D, so I am here to tell you my tales as a first-time dungeon master. Now, the most essential thing of any D&D campaign is the story. Rather than going for a pre-generated story or one that I can find online, I opted to totally create my own. And let me grab... This is what I'm calling my Dungeon Master's Journal. This is where I'm planning everything out. It's a nice little leather notebook. And I don't actually write out a whole lot of the story. I write out a decent bit, but most of it comes up on the spot. So, let me give you a quick recap of what my players have done thus far. They are on a quest for the Lamp of Epiphany, which will answer their one most profound question known to mankind. Or their own most profound question for each member of mankind, or like each member of the realm, basically. So it's one used per individual. Now, there are 12 keys needed to access the vault where it is kept in the northern corner of the map. And that's basically the story. That's about all the basic stories. There's a Dark Lord who's also after it, as most things are. You know, you gotta have a big bad guy. But that's all that I have. And then I create some encounters. Actually, they just fought a dragon, like, yesterday, which was pretty cool. I had fun doing that. So, now... That's all the story I really have to tell you. I wish I could tell you more, but I don't really have much more story planned out. I mean, there was, little encounters here and there, but as a whole, that's what they've done. So let me talk a little bit more about what I use for minis and what I use for, like, an actual DM tools. Don't get me wrong, minis are really cool. Minis are a pain in the butt to paint, and I suck at painting. What I do not suck at, however, is making Lego customs. So I use Lego minifigure parts to create our party. Now let me show you each character. Beginning here, we have Sentient the Living Flame. He is a wizard who uses a lot of flame abilities, and I actually don't remember the rest of what he does. But he's a blade dancer. That's his big thing. So that's his character. You can tell what he is. He's very in your face. The next we have a human barbarian. Pretty basic, pretty straightforward, but he got to kind of customize what he looked like. So it was great. And then lastly, I forget what the species is called. It begins with a C. I think it's like Calyx or something. But basically, it's the cat person. So he has a hook hand, which I think he forgot he had. But he's actually an old barge captain. So that is my party's characters. And I let them use these as their minis because it's more interesting. It's easier to tell who's whose. They're bigger, and like I still use a normal grid that's like 5x5 square feet as each space. I use these Lego skeletons as the enemies. However, I need to get some better pieces to use, so that's something that I'm going to change in the near future. As for another thing that I use when coming to planning is the Dollar Tree has these cute little like felt bins. I have one for dice. I have one for minis. I have a longer one for just, like, various other things, like the cards that I use and walls that I just recently had 3D printed that I need to tell him to print in a different kind of filament because I can't mark on these. But that's all the stuff that I use really to run a campaign. I have this cool little owl bear that folds into a D20 that I can never remember how to fold and unfold. You can look at that, pretty cool. But I'm going to talk to you now about, like, the most difficult thing of Dungeon Masters, and that is planning out your actual sessions. As I'm sure any DM will tell you, the hardest part is planning out your sessions. Now, I plan out about half in this notebook here, I would say, on average, and the other half is kind of just, I come up with it on the spot. And the main reason for that is there's not a whole lot you can really plan, because you never know how far your party's going to get. You never know how well they're going to do at combat. You don't know how distracted they're going to get. And that's part of the fun of D&D, and I'm totally okay with that. Only thing is there will be some times that I will kind of be mean and be like, listen, you guys cannot do this. You need to stick to the story. Because I have worked hard. I've probably put about 12 hours into this of work. I would say maybe, probably less, let's be honest. But we've had about 4 sessions. They just leveled up to level 4 right before they fought the dragon, ironically enough. And that's the other thing with leveling is I do leveling up not XP based. I hate XP based leveling up because it's all about who gets the kill, and it really makes the experience a lot different for players. And that's why I do it more based off of when it's convenient. So I had them level up right before they fought a dragon, because I needed to make sure that they had the abilities to kill a dragon. Or at the end of each session, they level up. Roughly, that's roughly when I do it. And that's just easy for me to plan ahead also for, in my notebook of like what enemies they're going to fight is more based off of what their level is. And that way I know, like, hey, they're not level 2 yet. Or they're not level 5 yet, so they can't face off against this beholder. That kind of thing. I will say D&D is very daunting if you have not played before. I have played a very limited amount, and so when I wanted to play a session and I did not have anybody to DM, and I go, I will DM, I was petrified. Luckily, I have 2 players in my party that are really knowledgeable and have been a tremendous help. Nick, Nate, shout out to you guys. Ben, I know you're watching too. Love you, buddy, but you don't know D&D. You're a first-time player. So I have 3 players in my party, and 2 have played before. 1 was actually my old DM, and then the other has never played before, which has been great. They've all helped each other out, and we've had a really good time, and it's been a great bonding experience. So I would highly recommend everybody try D&D at some point in their life. I think it's a tremendous game, and really you get out of it what you put into it. And I put a lot of time and dedication into my story. I hope my players understand that. And it's still something that I enjoy creating the story, and I enjoy creating the world. I will end on showing you the map that we've created, and we all help pitch in for that. And it was a fun little night to do that too. But let me show you guys the map, and then I'm just going to wrap this up. It's a very brief video. I take that back. The map is rolled up, and it is a pain to roll up without another set of hands. That being said, thank you all for watching this video. There will be some more D&D content at some point. It is just dependent on my schedule and what else I have. There will be another JLA video coming out in the next few days, hopefully, fingers crossed, and potentially some videos on some other subjects. I have a lot of stuff I want to cover. It's just time and also for me energy, and but I would like to get some more diverse content out there for you guys and not just DC Multiverse. So that being said, thank you all again so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.